What is up, successful dropouts? Get stoked because today on the show we have Seth Hymes. Seth is killing it in digital marketing with experience managing an annual ad spend of over $1 million for multiple businesses in a variety of industries. He then quit to work for himself and is now the founder of In Demand Career, which prepares college graduates, dropouts, and job seekers with practical, actionable processes to not only gain in-demand skills, but actually get a career. That's the intro I have for you today, Seth, but I'm sure many of our listeners are curious about what's changed since we last had you on in 2017. What else have you been up to since we heard from you last?
Well, I've been up to a lot of things, but the biggest thing that's changed since 2017 is that we just helped a lot more people get jobs and get clients in digital marketing. The course has been very successful, very popular. It's gained in popularity just because people are having success. There's just been a lot of word of mouth. Um, and it's been awesome. I mean, I never dreamed when I started this that I would really be able to help this many people. And I think, we have more testimonials than any other online course I've ever seen. So that's the main thing, is that we've just been growing the course as much as
That's
possible.
incredible. So there's kind of this rumor going around that digital marketing is getting a bit saturated now. But what are your thoughts on that? What are you finding? Because you've got your boots on the ground right now,
Yeah.
training people up that are actually going into the digital marketing jobs. So what do you
Yeah.
say to that?
It's a completely wrong. I love that stuff. I love how people say, "Oh, SEO is dead." This is terrible. Whenever you hear something like that, you really have to question it. Um,
Mm,
Digital marketing. This is the funny thing, is that, you know, in the world of careers and people hiring other people to do SEO and PPC, which is digital marketing work, the industry is growing and growing and growing. You just have to ask yourself, if Google is getting bigger, which it always is, if Facebook is
mhm.
getting bigger and Instagram, that means that this industry is getting bigger. But don't just take my word for it. You can look at the May 2018 LinkedIn workforce report, where they said that there are over 200,000 marketing jobs that will be opening up in the next few years, and they will not be filled because people do not have the skills. You could look
Wow.
at the fact that, you can look at the fact that when I started my course, if you look at any of my old videos or screenshots, I would do searches on LinkedIn for jobs in digital marketing. And normally there would be about 20,000 results every day.
Hmm.
And now if you do the same search, you're going to see more like 50,000 results every day.
That's quite a big change.
Yeah, so it's like more than doubled. And the number of entry level or associate positions is a large percentage of that. In fact, I did a different search than I normally do for the term paid search, which is what I mostly teach. Teach people how to manage Google Ads accounts, which is the skill that so many businesses need. This skill, it's insane. And I actually got 67,000 results, of which about, I think, 20 or 30,000 were entry level jobs.
That's a
So,
huge amount of entry level jobs in any industry.
yes. So, that's why my students have so much success, and why they're so like crazy, like almost like rock music fans about the course, because because I happen to provide actually practical information after, 12 years of learning just BS in school.
Hmm.
I give people just a little bit of practical advice, and when they follow it, they get these results. And that's what's so exciting about it. Whether it's getting a job interview when you're 19 years old, you don't have any work experience, because I've showed you how to generate your own work experience and how to talk to a hiring manager, or
Hmm.
you've gotten your first client paying you $800 a month to do SEO or PPC for their account. I'll send this over to you. I literally just got an email about an hour before the podcast from a guy who, I mean, he was telling me he was basically broke when he started the course. His bank account was in the red, and now he's got one $800 a month client. He laid out all the different clients that he has, and he basically said his wife was able to quit her job. She had been supporting the family, and now she's been able to quit her job because he's done so well freelancing in this field. And it's very moving when I hear that kind of
Mm,
stuff.
yeah. So, what kind of range of people are you seeing coming in? Is it hugely diverse, or are you finding a lot more younger people coming into the course that you're doing? What are you finding?
It's mostly younger people, although it's funny you say that because I just one of my students in Atlanta is about my age, I think she's in her late 30s. She was a customer service rep for 10 years, did a career change, and now she manages all the digital marketing for this huge international company based in Germany. So it's definitely we definitely have people from all over the place, but I would say the majority of my students are younger. Um, College age, college dropout age. Um, I guess between like 20 and 25 is kind of the most. Um, and it's funny that I'm on this podcast because I've literally talked, my last two testimonials that I put on Instagram are both college dropouts. And I
Hmm.
love their stories. They were, do you want to hear it? Or I
Yeah,
don't want to
go
keep
for
going.
it. Absolutely.
Um,
Fire
when I
away.
was in, yeah, when I was in Atlanta, so Javier was in Texas in grad school, or I don't know if he was undergrad or grad. I think he was an undergrad for agriculture. And he's in this program, he's building up debt, and he's like kind of going, "What the hell am I doing here? I don't want
Hmm.
to be here. I'm building up debt." And he found the program online, knew this is what he wanted to do, decided to drop out of school and just focus on digital marketing. And the funny for him, he shared a story I think a lot of people can identify with. He was criticized by his family every day. He
Wow.
tells me his parents were like, "You're throwing your life away. You have to go back to school." He even told me his pastor was like on him. They like
Hmm.
called in the pastor. It's like, "You have to talk to our son. He's about to throw his life away because he dropped out of college and he's taking this ridiculous digital marketing course." So he he persevered through that. I
Hmm.
I met the guy. He's got a great attitude. I think I was really impressed by what he's able to do. So he ended up, after being in the course for, I'm not even sure how long. I think it was only a month or two. He is now working at a digital agency outside of Atlanta. I think it's about 20 miles outside of Atlanta, Roswell or
Hmm.
Ros something. And he's managing about $100,000 a month in ad spend. And he is happy.
Hmm.
He is like so thrilled. He loves the
Imagine
work.
that.
Yeah. Yeah. He loves what he's doing, and he doesn't and he saved himself the pain of all that debt, and he doesn't have a degree, and he's so happy he did not go back to school. And it's so funny because his parents and his family, like, they're still, I think he said they're slowly, it just, it's so funny. All these people that will pressure you to go to college and say that you're throwing your life away,
Hmm.
they're they're like in a hypnosis, they're in a trance. They've been
Hmm.
brainwashed. They have such a deeply rooted worldview. It's almost like religion. So it takes, even I've had a lot of students where this has happened and they start having success, and a lot of them, they start making so much more money or are so much happier than their peers who went to college and are in debt. And their parents, it can take them, sometimes it takes them a minute.
Hmm.
Like it takes them a few months to be, is this real? It's such a bizarre notion in our culture where everyone's
Yeah.
brainwashed to go to school. But anyway, Javier is super happy. Um, I just have so many of these stories, and you can
Yeah.
stop me whenever.
Well, I want to dig into that a bit actually, because that's quite a familiar scenario to so many of our listeners. So many people want to start moving into something that's could be potentially something that's based on the internet, which for the previous generation is quite a risky thing, or it's perceived as quite a risky thing to base your future on. I mean, it's not really been around for that long. Like it's the internet's still less than 35 years old, and so I mean, for someone my age, in my early 20s, our parents, like, from when they were our age, they didn't have anywhere near the same options. So it seems like this kind of ethereal thing that can't quite be connected to opportunity,
Right.
and especially financial opportunity. And we do see a kickback when people take that approach. So, what are you aware of? What kind of things you said Javier had this incredible attitude, and I'm kind of wondering what things he did to really get through that resistance he was facing from all around him in every sphere of his life.
That's a great question. I'm actually gonna. You'd have to ask him. I'm gonna actually interview him about that. But one thing I found amongst my students, and most of them run into some kind of resistance. Um, and it's not to toot my own horn, because now the course is more than just me. It's this community of students and alumni who are these dynamic people. And one thing I'll credit is that when you come into the course, you're not kind of you are sitting on your computer by yourself, but because of the forums and because of the people who've done the course are so thrilled with their lives, they want to give back. So they offer support to the people in the course, and there's just so many testimonials and so much social proof. I think that is very helpful because you don't feel like you're kind of taking a risk on this random thing nobody's ever heard of. You've seen all these other people get results.
Mm-hmm.
But he really put his head down, and I think like the other thing I think for him that was really important, I could see, especially given the success he's had at his agency, he took what I taught them and I teach them. Oftentimes in the digital marketing industry and paid search, we joke about this, but like even people working in that field often don't know what they're doing.
Wow.
It's still it's so new, like you said, and there's such a lack of skilled workers. And when I teach my students, I cut right through the BS and I teach them this is exactly what you need to know to make your accounts work. So if you can communicate this to a hiring manager, they're going to be very impressed.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually told me that at his agency, he blew away in the interview. He just blew them away. And when he came in, he actually knew more than a lot of the people, either people who'd been working there or they had some, like, there were some marketing majors from colleges that they had brought in as interns,
Mm-hmm.
and he knew more. So he had just a really good head for this. Um, and I think he just could see from everything I was saying in the course that it made sense. Like, yes, of course, businesses are advertising on the internet. They're not advertising in the newspaper or the yellow pages anymore. And yes,
Mm-hmm.
if I get these skills, people will pay me to do it. So it just made so much sense to him that he was able to, it gives you a sense of purpose,
Mm-hmm.
that I think allows somebody to deal with that, criticism. I do think there is a personal development component to that. Because I've met, just like one student. It was funny because there were like 4 or 5 of us at lunch, and all the other students were so positive and so supportive. But there's one guy had been getting so much crap from I think his dad or his mom or his brother or something.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and unfortunately, you could see that he's just a sensitive guy, and it was killing him. Um, it made me feel really terrible, and I really was wanted to punch his family in the face because I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this kid is like so committed to doing this work, but that's that family, and it's in his head. I said, you're giving your family too much power. You're giving these people power over you and your life,
Mm-hmm.
like, and there's really no, I was like, I'd have to do coaching and, one-on-one mentorship with him very intensely to try to help him deal with whatever belief patterns are going on in his head, where he's not, having enough confidence and self-respect to stand up to the whatever so and so is saying, because the things the families are saying is just, it's stupid. It's completely unintelligent. Anyone who's criticizing what, a young person is doing by studying these skills that are so highly in demand, if you're criticizing that, you are absolutely just completely uninformed.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to deal with the emotional part of your brain and your mind that's giving mommy and daddy all this credibility,
Yeah.
that they don't deserve in this instance. It's good to respect your parents, but in this instance, mommy and daddy should have zero credibility. They don't know what they're talking about. Like you said, they grew up without the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Exactly.
it's like asking, it's like going on the street and asking a 5-year-old for how do I change the oil in my car?
Yeah.
Like, would you listen to what the 5-year-old has to say?
No, you won't.
No, you destroy your car.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's really helpful because it's definitely true that our generation have the advantage of knowing a few tricks and kind of starting to be able to see under the hood of where technology is going and how we can actually build careers around that the previous generation have not. And so that's really good, and definitely a point to focus on. And actually, I really liked the encouragement that you said was really in place for this guy as well. Everybody else going through it. And one of the things we really like to say on the show is make sure you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people who do
Yes.
push you to a higher standard and call you to that next level. because you often don't find it in the immediate environment that you find yourself in. And again, another powerful thing about the internet is that you can actually really easily go and find those people. So that's really very encouraging to hear.
Great. Yes, I'm glad.
Have you had any other similar stories of people, particularly who've been going through a college degree? And this guy Javier, he was doing a degree in agriculture, and
Agriculture. Yeah.
that's quite a shift. So, like, how are people who are going through college degrees finding your stuff, finding the course that you run, and actually looking towards that possible career based in digital
Right.
marketing?
Well, here's the thing, man. I mean, college is, oh, I need a breath.
Go for it.
People are pressured into college in the most irresponsible, idiotic way. You're told to apply to this school without any clue about what you're going to study or what the point is. So kids just choose these majors like they're picking a name out of a hat, or they've taken a personality test that says, "Oh, you're good with people, so you should study hotel
Mm-hmm.
management." And then they get into these programs, they hate it because they're academically taught, their professors are tenured, it's unengaging, it's impractical, it's not in sync with the 21st century. It's across the board.
Mm.
So I have so many testimonials, and you can see these of people who are studying everything from like engineering to being in marketing themselves to now agriculture. And then just, what happens, I think when they're in school, they go online because they're like, this is not working. And then they start looking for career advice or what to do instead of college and then they somehow find either my videos or my one of my partners, Matt Tran, who does Engineered Truth, one of his videos. And they kind of go through this process of like waking. It's like going to the Matrix, waking up. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, oh my God, this whole other world of looking at things that is outside of academia. And people, I've had so many of my students, once they get into the course, they drop out of school. And I love it. There's no greater gift for me. And usually it's because they got a job. That's like the best, is
Yeah.
when it's like, hey, I was in school, I hated it, I was building debt. I took your course, I started following your advice, I implemented all the action steps, I started applying for jobs, and I couldn't believe it. I got an interview because I
Mm.
show, they could just it's like skip everything in high school, skip everything in colleges, so show a kid how to get an in-demand skill and put it on a resume properly, and you'll get an interview. And that's what I
Wow.
teach people. And then because of these simple things that they've learned, when I say simple, it's not like, you learn it in 5 minutes. It's sophisticated, but that's why I say it's so perfect for your audience and college students. You intelligent, analytical, creative people who don't want to necessarily get into coding, because I don't want to code. That's too analytical for me. That's
Mm-hmm.
too cerebral. But digital marketing is like the balance between creativity and analysis. If you have the ability to do some basic analysis of not only numbers but concepts, and then do some creativity because you're doing things like ad copy, it's very stimulating. That's why in 2011, when I found this field, I fell in love with it and I got super psyched. And when I made the course, I made it really entertaining and exciting. Unlike most of these courses about,
Mm.
something like marketing, it's going to be very dry. And my students resonate with that, and that's why they enjoy it. And then something, usually it's like a switch gets flipped in so many where they're just like, this is what I want to do. They apply for some jobs, they get the attention of a hiring manager because the hiring manager has just looked at 100 resumes from a bunch of college graduates. They don't know crap about digital marketing. And I know this because I have been in a hiring position at an agency, and I've been there looking at those resumes. And that's where my teaching comes from. So
Mm.
I'm like, hey guys, this is what you should say. This is how you should do it. And when they
Yeah.
start getting those results or getting an interview, or they get or maybe they get a part-time client, or a lot of them, they'll get a job offer. And then they're in college and they're like, this, I'm taking the damn job,
Mm-hmm.
It
And
makes so
that's
much more sense, and you're going to learn so much more. That's the basic premise of my course. And I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
it's all
Last thing I
good.
want to say is the point of the course and why it's been so successful. I say, I'm getting you in the door. I'm getting you in that job, and I'm going to show you just what you need to get into the entry level job. Not too much, not too little. And the point of that is that any course you take online, I've seen, it's funny, I've got Udacity's nano degree. There's these online master's programs that are terrible. I have videos on that. They don't teach the practical things you need to actually get the job. You don't want to waste 40 hours learning about analytics or all these other things. You want to get the basics, get into a job at an agency. And when you're on the job, that's when you will learn everything. Getting that first job, even if you're getting paid like $15 or $16 an hour, is more educational than anything in school. And that's my students, once they get into an agency environment, they just take the hell off. I have people doing stuff I couldn't even imagine a year after they've taken the course. So it
Wow.
fires me up.
That's exactly, that addresses exactly one of the concerns that parents often have as well, because often there's not that much light at the end of the tunnel if you're starting to build your own projects or develop a new skill and you're not quite sure how well it's going to work out. And you could be still going through the degree, getting into more and more debt, and you want to make a break from it, but you're not sure how successful that's going to be. But what you're saying here is that people, while they're still in the degree, they boost up those skills and they get that job and they're out of there instantly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so clear when there's another option, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have a place to jump off to. Um, but just to speak to what you said about starting a project, you know, because I know a lot of people listening are entrepreneurial minded, and I'm an entrepreneur, and most of my students honestly are entrepreneurs, even the ones who get jobs. Um, the field is so wonderful because I even encourage my students who want to be entrepreneurs to get a job at first,
Mm-hmm.
because you spend 6 months at a job, it's just like an incubator for you. You're getting the experience, you're getting the education, and you can then use that when you go to either get your own clients or build your own business in any other field. And that's the thing, is like, I know I've been in the group and I know there's people that want to start their own e-commerce businesses or their own consulting businesses
Mm-hmm.
or maybe a brick and mortar business, or be like Kylon and have 5,000 different businesses, you know. Um, every single business needs marketing. So at some point in your entrepreneurial journey, you're going to have to hire a digital marketer.
Mm-hmm.
And the beautiful thing about this is that my students now, when they do are like, I want to start my own business, guess what? They know how to market it. They don't have to spend the money hiring a marketer. And even if they hire a marketer as a consultant, they know enough
Mm-hmm.
where they're not going to get ripped off.
Exactly.
Because that's the worst pitfall for entrepreneurs, is that they don't understand that marketing is like the biggest thing. That you can
Yep.
come up with the best product, and then people are stuck with like, nobody knows about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then you've got that problem solved if you've already grounded yourself in that experience. So have you
Yeah.
found people who have, gone in and perhaps done your course and have landed that first job and gone on and done work for an agency or whatever, and then flipped that into building a business and being able to reap the success of having that digital marketing experience and use that in a business that they've gone into?
Mostly, I think so it's like a 3-step thing. Now, my course is only 3 years old. And so if you interviewed me last year, and if you'd interviewed me the year before, I would have told you, hey, we've had a few success stories. And now we have all these more of these success stories. So the timeline looks like this. And it's been pretty common, is that most of my students, they get the job, they're thrilled. They stay at the job, usually for some people stay for a year and then they jump to a better job, which is how it works in this business, by the way. People don't usually get laid off. It happens occasionally, but if you're going to quit, it's because you are moving to a better job. You're leveraging up because of the demand. So people either leverage up to a better job where they can get more experience with bigger accounts, or they usually start freelancing at that point.
Hmm.
And they basically say, I want to build my own agency. So I have a lot of students in that position where they are either just getting their own clients, or they're putting together their own agencies, which is their own business.
Mm-hmm.
And they're using their own marketing skills, obviously, to get new clients and to service those clients. And it's funny because at some point I'm going to be doing a training on starting your own information product business, because that's what I do. And I think it's the best business model, information products.
Nice.
by far.
Very scalable.
um, yeah, but I feel like it's a process, and so I think it's like if you interview me next year, I'm gonna have more of people like, yeah, this guy started his own business. This guy started. They are starting their own businesses, which are agencies. Um, so yeah, technically that is their own
Hmm.
business. If you mean like someone started their own, product line or e-commerce shop, I do have people like that, but there's going to be more as as students have more time in the field. You
Gotcha.
know what I mean? Because a lot of this, some people have been in for a year, some people have been in for 2 years. I'll tell you this much:
Hmm.
one of my favorite stories is Cynthia. Cynthia Rebus in New York worked at an agency for maybe 6 or 8 months in Long Island, and now she's managing all of the digital marketing for Damon John.
Wow.
Do you know who that is?
I have heard of them. It's ringing a bell. Very, very big corporate.
He founded Fubu,
What's the industry
and he's on
again?
Shark Tank.
Ah,
So
yes. I was like, that's a big name. Where have I heard
right,
that from?
I didn't
And
even
so I had the reaction, and I was like, okay, right, fill
right.
me in.
So all of his, I mean, this is a 3 to 500 million net worth guy, that one of my
Oh yeah.
students who only had like a year of experience in digital marketing. And I'm actually, it's funny, I'm going to be putting in a course. In the course, I'm going to be doing a training about how she did this,
Hmm.
like how she pitched herself and was hired by this hugely successful entrepreneur. But that's something she's doing. So though she's managing digital marketing for someone else, in my mind, I feel like this is like leaps and bounds ahead. It's almost like she has her own company because she's essentially building his brand and his product from the ground
Hmm.
up. It's not her product, but it's a guy who's really successful,
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. There's, I said there's various people in various stages of success, but um, uh, the reality too, people don't realize that it takes a little time to build a successful
Oh yeah.
business.
It sure does. Well, it's really interesting that you said that a lot of people are going on to not just work in jobs at existing agencies, but then are starting to build their own. And that, I mean, that seems to me as a very clear indicator as to how big this space is. That there is there is room in the market to go ahead and actually do that thing, and people are seeing that very real business opportunity to capitalize on that.
Absolutely. It's huge. I mean, just to give people context, because it sounds like all very pie in the sky.
Yeah.
There was an article in CNN or one of, not CNN. Was it? It was one of the big publications like USA Today a few years ago that said 40. It was like 47% of small business owners don't have a website.
That is insane. That
Right.
barely computes.
Right. So what I'm saying is that the mainstream,
Hmm.
the public, the same people that are, when you turn on, Entertainment Tonight or whatever, I don't know, or TMZ, and people who are watching tabloid shows or whatnot, which can be fun to watch. But sort of the mainstream is not even as up to speed on what's going on as you and I are, or people in the successful dropouts group.
Hmm.
Like, um, you have something going for you in terms of your age, because I think a big reason why a lot of those business owners don't have a website, there is an age issue. People owning a business or over 40 or over 50. But I'm saying that's a trickle down. So if there's that many people that don't have websites, and by the way, I teach people how to build websites, and a lot of my students get website building clients from this course, which is almost like corollary thing. So
Hmm.
I've had clients pay me to build their websites just from my WordPress knowledge. I didn't have to go to coding school or get a degree in web development. But
Hmm.
take it further into digital marketing. So all those businesses need to advertise on Google. And Google continues to try to automate things. So Google's like a big casino. This is a little bit from the course I teach, is that Google makes all their money through ads. It sounds mind-blowing because most of us don't click on those ads, right? When you Google
Hmm.
shit. Like, do you
Yep.
ever click on an ad?
I can't remember ever clicking on a Google ad.
Right. But 80 billion, what is it, $100 billion a year, whatever it is, their revenue, those are all from clicks. I mean, they make some money from Android, they make some money from other products. It's almost all from advertising.
Wow.
And and it's growing every day. More and more companies are coming online, and that's the thing that's so crazy to me is like Ad Taxis. There's a huge agency based out of I know it's based out of Denver. I know they have offices all over the country. This company, you know, I talked with a buddy of mine working there, and they're handling thousands and thousands of small to medium sized businesses, millions of dollars in ad spend. And I remember this was like 2 or 3 years ago, and he's like, he's got 100 accounts or some crazy amount because the maintenance you have to do on some of these accounts isn't that much. But I'm sitting here thinking this company has not only all the technicians, but they have dedicated sales teams that are out there on the phones getting new clients every day,
Hmm.
and they're growing. If you go on the LinkedIn, you'll see they're hiring all the time. They are hiring, they are hiring, they are hiring, and they are growing and they are growing. And it's kind of like it kind of is mind-blowing. Like how many businesses are there? Well, there's
Oh,
millions
so
of
many,
businesses.
so many.
And and they're all, some of them don't advertise, and some of them, that's why my students, I said, you can also as a freelancer, you can sell this service so much easier than any other service.
Mm.
um, I just thinking about I had friends who are like personal trainers and stuff,
Yeah.
um, or photographers or whatever you are. You have to like pitch people on this
Hmm.
stuff, those things. You have to like, oh, it's like, convince somebody that they need to lose weight. Like, no, all you have to do, like when I'm networking, I mean, half the time when I was really focused on this as opposed to my, running the business,
Hmm.
I would just people say, "What do you do, Seth?" I'm a digital, I help people get more traffic to their websites and make more money.
Hmm. Yeah.
And and it's just hilarious because he's like, I didn't have to say anything else. Then usually it was like, oh, I need someone that can do that. Oh, or
Hmm.
it would just like people. It's not a
Yeah.
hard
It's
sell,
like, I
basically.
will make
And
you
then if
more
you,
money if you let me loose on your marketing, and
yeah,
because everyone needs it,
and you can show.
not and there are more and more businesses who are actually taking advantage of it. There's so many that just aren't, like they're sitting there plugging along, and it's really good as well, I imagine, to be able to be part of these businesses, because they almost always, as long as you're good at what you do, they will start to perform better as a direct result. So the value of your portfolio will just go up and up and up.
They do. And that's the thing about the course, that I'm actually updating and redesigning the main section on Google Ads, because it's it's such good information that is not anywhere else that I've found. But I said, there's so much information. I want to edit, I want to do an editing job on it,
Hmm.
like when you write an article, I want to make it even more streamlined. But the basic thing is that, like, it's actually not that hard. I liken it to like, it's like if your grandparents are trying to set up a Gmail account,
Hmm.
it might be just seem like impossible to
Yes.
them. But to you, you can like, it takes you 30
Yeah.
seconds. When you learn how Google Ads works, it takes like a few hours of like focused mental, you have to, oh, okay, this is how this is supposed to go. Once you get it, you know how to set up a Google Ads account, and you can look at all the reason these jobs exist, I say, is that Google continues, like what I was saying before, Google's like a big casino,
Hmm.
and they try to look like they're the good guys, and they're so happy and friendly and helpful, and they have a great search engine, but they're there to make money.
Of course.
So they just redesigned their interface last year to try to push more automation onto their customers. And what they try to do is they try to get, an unsophisticated customer who owns like a pizza shop. And they're like, hey, Google Ads is so easy to use. Just do this AdWords Express, just type in an ad and this, and your pizza shop's going to get more business.
Hmm.
And it's not that easy. What happens is there's two things. Either one, most business owners do not have the time or the ability to manage their own marketing like that. The second thing is the automation stinks. And there's debate about this in the community. It's like Facebook's automation and Facebook's data. If Facebook is kind of like creepy in the way that they're very effective
Hmm.
with their like algorithms and shit, in terms of if you set a goal, they will find people to be customers
Well,
for
they
you.
have like
But
everyone on
Google,
the planet.
yeah. And that's another conversation. But Google, their automation is screwed up. And it's funny because I've had clients who've had even Google will have their own reps trying to set up your account for you. And I'm like, dude, that's like going to Bally's or MGM. am going up to the, saying, "Hey, can you guys help me gamble?"
Hmm.
Sure. We'll show you how to play blackjack. Don't worry. We have no personal interest in you losing money. So there's this is why this industry exists, is because, people realize like they need an ally, people who are intelligent and have, want to actually make more money off of Google than necessarily give Google more
Hmm.
money. Um, and so even with these small accounts, I'm sorry, I kind of lost my train of thought with that. Was what I teach is very simple. It's very actionable, and most people can learn it. Um, it's just not. It's not like you need 25 hours of training to learn how to optimize one of these accounts. And I think that's what's so exciting. As I said, once my students learn what they need to do, and then they start working on client accounts, they're like, "Holy crap, this actually makes a difference." Oh my God, I can see that our click cost was this. Now our click cost is this. The conversion, you're saving businesses money. You're making them money
Hmm.
from just honestly, just by doing it the way it's supposed
Uh-huh.
to be done. I even I'm reading from this guy, Christopher Graffing. When he wrote me at 12:50 p.m., he said, he hit up his chiropractor, offered his services for free, and he said that turned into him paying me $800 a month for local SEO and then upgrading his service to add a second location. His results have been great. And as a result, he's taking over services for his wife's business. But obviously, he got results for this guy.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, that's SEO. That's the other thing I
Yep.
teach. That is another conversation. That's the organic side of things.
Well, one thing
Um,
that I found really interesting, you say you've probably got more testimonials than anyone else in any other sort of space in kind of building up skills in digital marketing. How many testimonials do you think you guys have at the moment?
I mean, more than 50,
Hmm.
maybe 70.
Wow.
I mean, those are just the people that were cool with us
Yeah,
printing them. I mean, there's a lot of people, because of privacy and the internet, there's
of
a lot of
course.
people who have written to us personally, and occasionally I'll get one that's so good, and then I'm like, "Can I please share this online?" And they're like, "No,
Hmm.
I'd rather you don't," just because it's the
Yeah,
internet,
of
it's
course.
YouTube or it's Instagram. But you look at like Udacity or any of the degree
Uh huh.
programs, it's like there's nothing. And even I think Udacity has I remember looking because they have this nano degree program that it's not terrible, but it's not good. And I get a lot of people who did this $1,000 program come to me in my little $100 a month program, and they get the results from me
Hmm.
after they pay these other guys $1,000. So they'll have little text testimonials, but I'm like, no, I have people that are so thrilled. They want to do a video. They want to, they let me reprint their actual messages on LinkedIn
Wow.
and their LinkedIn profile and then link over to them. And then a lot of my students want to make their LinkedIn profile available so that other people considering the course can contact them
Yeah.
and see this is not bullshit.
Hmm.
And then they want to give back, so they want to answer questions, and they come back into the course to help the students who are in
Yeah.
there. So yeah, man, I mean, even if we only had like 15 testimonials, I still think we'd have
Uh
more than
huh.
most of these
Oh, I
products. But
bet.
also the authenticity. And for me, I tell you, I traveled to New York in December and Atlanta just now, and I actually got to meet some of these folks in person, and it was just such a trip, so gratifying, so humbling,
Hmm.
because we have so many online relationships, but I'm like, oh my God, I actually made a difference in this person's life, and I'm hanging out with like 4 or 5 people. I'm like, all these guys have such amazing futures. And, like this guy, Nick, was telling me his story, and he's one of my testimonials. I think he also dropped out of college. I forget, but a lot of people are they're very lost. They don't know
Yeah.
what to do. Um, I think the thing I'd say to a lot of people, I was telling you in successful dropout, is that when you're in that space of having dropped out of
Hmm.
college, and you're spinning because you're wondering, what should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And I'm like, that is a great inquiry. What is my true passion? What is my true calling in life? All that, and you should go there.
Hmm.
But I would say almost everyone across the board say, get digital marketing skills, because they are the most ubiquitous skills that you can use to support yourself while you are exploring everything else.
Hmm.
You you can get 2 or 3 clients a month as a freelancer, or even if you work a job for 6 months and save up a bunch of money
Yeah.
and leverage up to the next thing, you you have that foundation. So you're not worried about paying your rent. You're not you think worrying about moving back home with mom and dad.
Mm-hmm.
You have that foundation and that stability, and you know that you can always get a job whenever you need it. It's so liberating to have that off your mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, I think, the best thing for me about having these skills is that, well, I run my own business, and you never know with your own business, how many sales you're going to make, how long it's going to last. It's always a risk every
Yep.
day. But if I was to, the worst was to happen, I could get a job in any city in this country
Mm.
tomorrow if I want.
That's incredible.
No question. No question. And my students are the same way. It's like, to have that confidence and that security is just like, it just calms you
Yep.
down and makes you feel very confident. And then whenever you're exploring your own business, writing a book, whatever you want to do, you don't have that background panic,
Yeah. Well, I think this is something that a lot of our listeners are probably going to be quite interested in. So, in a moment, I'm going to give you a chance to plug your resources, the website, your Instagram as well, if you want. I know you post a lot of those examples, LinkedIn screenshots on there as well. But just briefly before we wrap up, I just also wanted to talk about your film, which you just released as well. Your
My movie.
movie, Wally Got Wasted. And I really love this story because you've talked a lot about going through film school and the value that you believe that provides, or lack thereof. And now you've actually gone ahead and you've produced a movie. And yeah, just tell us a bit about that journey as well.
Okay, I'll try to make it short. I went to film school back in the day at NYU. Like most people, I wanted to direct, and like most people who graduate film school, I never directed a feature. Most people maybe don't know this or don't think about it. The percentage of people who actually direct a feature after film school is like less than 1%. It's I think it's one of the worst examples of higher education being misleading, because a lot of these schools hype it
Mm-hmm.
up like, oh, you're going to, be successful because of this place or that place. They do not teach anything practical. And in film school, they don't teach you how to make a feature, like a full length movie, which to me is like, let's say you went to medical school and you were working on dolls, like you
Huh.
never worked on a human. Like, let's say you went to architecture school and you never learned how to build a house with like plumbing and pipes and electrical wiring, and you just
Hmm.
built doll houses.
Wow.
That's film school. You do these shorts, and then it's like, okay, kid, you made this 10-minute movie. Now you're going to go make a feature. But you can't get hired off a short. It's very rare. And it's two different skill sets. So I went to film school, I graduated, and then I had to figure out life. I was an art school grad, and this is
Uh-huh.
all before digital marketing, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I gave up on my dream, in my 20s. And the irony is, after being in digital marketing and having the success, the freedom of the lifestyle and the income, that really provided me the space to produce this movie. So it kind of came full circle. In 2017, me and my business partner were able to take 4 weeks and shoot this mammoth undertaking of a movie. And the movie is it's a comedy about a group of friends who accidentally kill a bad guy,
Mm-hmm.
and they screw up getting rid of the body. So they have to pretend that he's alive while they're being chased through downtown LA.
Nice.
And it's called Wally Got Wasted. And it's on Amazon right now. You can rent or buy it on Amazon.
Awesome.
Um, so I mean, it was like a 4-year process from when we started writing the script.
Uh-huh.
But we ended up, having, I said we could do a whole other show on this, and we have, about the miracles that happened to support this movie with a very low budget. We got so many things just happened serendipitously. We got all these locations for free. We had this incredible crew. We have this top of the line camera, so the movie does not look like an indie movie. It doesn't look like it was shot on the budget we had. um, and it's been an amazing experience. But now the funny thing is, now I'm using my digital marketing skills to promote it, because
Oh, that's
promoting the
great.
movie is like the most important part. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
incredible. So
thank
I
you.
I suppose you're a firm believer that digital marketing is the foundation of all success for the future.
I would say it's a very powerful tool.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to give you a chance to just give people a link to the website so they can go check out those testimonials and the course itself. Also, your Instagram, if you want to throw that out there as well, that would be incredible.
Yeah, if you want to check out more about the course, go to successfuldropout.com/digital marketing. My Instagram is at the Seth Jared, TheSethJared. And you'll see a lot of testimonials on there. But if you go to the URL I just mentioned, you're going to actually get into my free mini course, which is like 40 minutes of free videos explaining a lot more in-depth information about these jobs, about the opportunity. Um, I've even had people get jobs just from that free introductory course. The actual course itself, you'll see, is much more in depth. It's 14 hours of training. It includes the forum. There's so much to learn and so much to absorb and so much to take action on. But the free intro course is very valuable information.
That's awesome. Thanks so much, Seth. And what is the best way for people to get a hold of you if they've got any more questions or want to find out a little bit more?
Go to successfuldropout.com/digital marketing and put your email in there, and you'll be on my mailing list, at which point you can reply to any of the emails that you get. I also, within there, I provide my LinkedIn. LinkedIn is really one of the best ways to meet me, to reach me, or email. But LinkedIn is very good. Obviously, that's where I do a lot of my networking because it's obviously a professional platform. Um, yeah, that's what I love to hear from people. I love to answer questions. I will answer your questions about anything about the course, anything about digital marketing, anything about your particular city. That's a question I get. Some people say, "Well, what opportunities are there near me?" I live in Tampa, Florida. I live in Minneapolis, and I do these walkthroughs on my YouTube channel where I kind of pick like 3 or 4 random cities. But if you message me and you're kind of concerned, I can give you, a sense of the number. I mean, you can do it yourself on LinkedIn. I usually just, go to search digital marketing in your city, and you're going to usually see a lot of jobs. But I can sometimes I help people out and give them a little more insight. But yeah, you feel free to hit me up. I answer emails and questions all day.
That's great. Thank you so much, Seth. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate you coming on the show today.
I'm glad. It's my pleasure. It was great talking to you.
Well, successful dropouts, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most, and you've been hanging out with Sam and Seth, learning everything the traditional system never taught you. For everything we talked about today, visit successfuldropout.com and type Seth into the search bar, and the show notes will pop right up. And as always, stay hungry, stay foolish.